Hey, how's it going? If you're new here, my name is Jan and I love makeup. And if you're not new, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate you. Obviously, today we have something new and amazing to talk about. This is going to be a longer video. All I can be is sorry. Grab a snack, grab a beverage, just tuck in. We're gonna have a little hang sesh and a bit of a, I don't know, surprise-ish that I thought of months ago and actually followed through with. So anyway, hopefully you're into all of this. If you are, then subscribe and watch. If you're not, don't subscribe, and maybe I'll see you later. Okay. It's here. The brand new Nomad holiday launch. This is their final launch of 2025. Also marks the end of their 10-year anniversary. I've been using all of my Nomad palettes this year in celebration of the 10 years. I still have 4, 5, 6. I can't quite remember how many I have left to use, but I'm gonna get it done. Don't you worry. Anyway, I'm going to insert some B-roll of clips and pictures that I took. The blue pictures, for better or worse, I was just trying to play and, I don't know, embrace a bit of Christmas before I can actually decorate for Christmas, because I love Christmas with my whole heart. So let me read you the postcard, all the things. I'll show you the pictures and videos, clips that I've taken, and then, you know, that'll be that. This is the Christkinder mark. I'm trying to say it the right way, but we're just gonna go with the Christmas market from here on. Greetings from the land of Saint Nick. Wander with us through twinkling German Christmas markets and soak in the wonder of the holiday season. We hope this palette brings a sprinkle of festive magic to your beauty creations. With warm holiday wishes, Felicia and Auntie, Nomad co-founders. The destination, Christmas time. All across Germany, town squares framed by half-timbered houses and medieval churches come alive as the traditional Christmas markets, Christkindlmarkt, light up the season. Wander through wooden stalls brimming with treasures. Savor the sense of Gawain, which I'm pretty sure is mulled wine, and roasted nuts, and join in the joyful holiday merriment. From sparkling Christmas trees to pure wedding pyramid, let the holiday magic begin. The palette, Santa, Sparkles, and O Tannenbaum. Peek through the windows of the Advent calendar-inspired packaging to discover a festive and charming holiday market. Inside, radiant shimmer and chrome shades are arranged in the shape of a twinkling Christmas tree at the center, surrounded by matte hues of fir green, St. Nicholas red, and marketplace neutrals. 6 mattes, 5 shimmers, 3 duochromes, and 1 multichrome. The cause: we are proud to support UNESCO World Heritage Center that helps conserve 55 sites in Germany. This is what the box looks like. I did not punch out the little windows. I may, when I can do it very carefully, because I don't want to ruin it. I don't typically hold on to packaging, but I will definitely hold on to this one. I want to read you the back of the box, which is definitely a bit different. Christmas color story of merry mattes outlining a sparkling Tannenbaum of dazzling shimmers, formulated with extra fine pigments and cocoa seed butter for delectable color payoff. 6 mattes, 5 shimmers, 3 duochromes, and 1 multichrome, inspired by Christmas markets, the traditional Christmas markets in Germany. And on the back, all of the names of the shades are in German. I'm not going to do that to you. That would be unkind if I butchered all of that, because I am, as we know, uncultured swine. This is the palette. As I'm filming this portion of the video, Nomad just showed the palette on Instagram, like the cover. Okay, brace yourself, because my palette looks like it's been used hard and put up wet, because I have been using the heck out of it. I've done 5 looks already. I'm gonna do one more with you today. That's the palette. When I swatched these for the B-roll swatches you've already seen, I literally gasped and may have used some very unladylike profanity. I was very surprised by the shades. And then when I applied them, holy moly, they are just spectacular. I have used all of the shades, but I'm pretty sure I did not use the Galene Mold Wine shade on its own, like as like the main character. I was gonna do a look palette bingo style, but now I'm thinking I should use that shade. Right? Yeah. Okay, we're changing the plan midstream, which means I'm gonna get my feet wet. So yeah, I'm gonna do a look and tell you some things. I wanted to kind of, I don't know, spotlight Nomad and Felicia and Auntie a little bit. They've been in this for 10 years. That's a pretty big achievement, in my opinion. And I think that by and large, we as a community don't know as much about the brand as we think we do. So I asked Felicia if she wanted to play like interview with me, and she said yes, because she's amazing and delightful. I remember reading an article about the brand starting in 2015 in November, and I guess she said she had forgotten that that's when they did it until I asked her about it. Because as you know, if you've been here, I am a huge fan of the brand, of the humans, of the whole thing, which is why I go so hard for the brand. I am friends with Felicia, and I think she's awesome. So, having said that, I would still be completely honest about my thoughts on anything and everything. I think when you're actually friends with somebody, they expect that, and Felicia expects it from me. So even if there was something not amazing, I would tell you, because that's what friends do. They don't let you leave the house looking a fool. Okay, I should scoot you in a bit and tuck into applying the makeups and tell you all the things. Okay, I decided to do something a bit more dramatic, so I put on my shadow shields. I cut one in half and make a straight line out of it because my eyes are very hooded and chubby, and this helps a lot. I'm gonna go in with the shade Marketplace on the outer corner to begin with and tell you what I learned. Okay. I'm not interview girl. This is like my first time really going with questions. So my first one was what, kind of, when, all of that was the very first thing that started getting anyone to think about, Nomad, getting the idea of doing a makeup brand yourself. And she said she was working at Revlon at the time and was kind of thinking maybe they wanted to start their own brand, she and Auntie, just like on their own. Well, I mean, originally it was a thought she had that she would do with somebody else, but Auntie got on board and was like, yes, let's do that. He thought up the name because they both love traveling and have traveled a lot. They both worked for major makeup brands, so they have a lot of background in cosmetics. So it made sense for that to be something they did. And that's just kind of like how it started. and Felicia stayed working at Revlon for another year, and Auntie kind of started Nomad, the two of them together, obviously when she wasn't working, and a brand was born. It was really cool talking to her about it because, you know, I personally can't imagine what it would be like to start a makeup brand, to have anything that creative happen in my imagination. Not something I can do. So yeah, and then Felicia stopped working at Revlon after a year and went to work for another, well, a small brand in the US, she said, but it was a popular brand in Germany as a products marketing person. Like she knows what she's doing. She's not just a pretty face, that girl. So she did that for another 5 years, and then Nomad was doing pretty okay, and she was able to stop and, you know, work Nomad full time. One of the things I wanted to mention that I don't think people know is that when they say indie brand, they mean indie. They are self-funded entirely. They didn't have investors. Nobody has any say in anything except them. They want to know every detail about what goes into their products. I should have told you that was St. Nicholas, the red. I'm sure you could have guessed that. Now I'm going into the Viewing shade, I think Mulled Wine. And that's gonna go everywhere else. Should I wet it just in case I get fallout? I have a little from the marketplace, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to just sweep that away. Actually, let me grab my brush. Yeah, that's gone. I don't usually get fallout from Nomad eyeshadows unless I'm being crazy. Yeah, so they wanted to have the final say in everything, and because they do have so much knowledge from their previous jobs, they know what to do and what not to do, and I gotta say, I think they're pretty spot on. A lot of brands start out with, I believe it's called white label. So you can just like say, I need this many of this product, and you can put your own brand on it. You can do whatever you want to it, but it's still like pre-made and not specific to the brand. Whereas Nomad, all of their formulas, everything they do is specific to Nomad itself, which I think is pretty darn cool. There's nothing wrong with white label. I mean, you're getting good makeups regardless, but I think it's important to know if you're getting a white label product and if you're not. And I don't know, you should be able to make that choice yourself. I think another thing worth noting is that it is just Felicia and Auntie running Nomad. They have a designer who kind of puts things together, and they have illustrators who do their thing, but everything is done through Felicia and Auntie, which is just amazing. Like, I just can't imagine being able to do something like that. Okay, and then I asked her the hardest thing she's come up against professionally, like in having her own brand or their own brand or whatever. And she said probably the panini, because, you know, it was a crazy time and brands were shutting down and nobody knew what was happening. But because they started out small and they stayed small and they didn't get what my parents would say is too big for their britches, they were able to get through it fairly unscathed. which is, I mean, it's smart business, you know? Don't get too ahead of yourself and you can survive it. And then I asked her what the best thing she experienced since starting the brand, like professionally. Because, I mean, any of us know your children are your most amazing thing. But outside of that, and she said that she thinks the best thing has been being able to work with Auntie, to be able to stay, you know, home basically and be with baby Nomad and, you know, still be able to pay the bills and do all the things and not have to miss any of the important things within the business or in her family. I'm gonna go back in a little bit of St. Nicholas on this itty bitty pencil. She said that she and Auntie work really well together, which, you know, it's not always the case for husbands and wives, and they make it work and easily. So that's a pretty good thing, huh? I asked Felicia if they had day jobs because, you know, having a small brand, it's not uncommon to have to work, you know, a job during the day that isn't the brand. And she said for the first 6 years, she had to work to kind of supplement the income to, you know, survive. And because they are entirely self-funded, they had to be really, really careful. So they basically did what I call playing poor, where you don't have money, you act like you don't have any money, and you do the things that you want to do to be successful. And then, you know, you have to go without. So, and that was a pretty big point for them. They didn't want outside funding. They wanted to have the final say in every single thing, from color story to ingredients, which is why there's a lot of different oils in their palettes from palette to palette, because they mix it up and use, you know, the best of whatever they can find or whatever they think will work for that particular thing. Felicia is a smart cookie. Auntie is pretty darn quiet. So even when we were in Salem together, we didn't chat a whole lot. He's Finnish, I believe, right? He's from Finland. So he's a quiet dude, but very nice, like very, very nice. So anyway, the brand is doing well. They are able to focus solely on, you know, family and the brand and their lives. And if something were to go sideways, they're in a position where they will probably be okay, at least for a while. You know, the brand's not going to go under. So that's reassuring. That's smart business. I mean, they are smart, they are clever, they are kind. What more could we ask for from a brand? Great products, great humans. Okay. The next question I asked her was this harder or easier than they imagined it would be? And she said on the harder days, it's harder. And on the easier days, the good days, it's easier than she thought they would be. And she goes on to tell me about like their philosophy for the brand and what they really wanted. So she explained it like it's a child, a small human, you know, like you want it to have its own personality and be its own thing and be branded. So she explained to me that branded is basically when you can say something and know exactly what that person is talking about. Like if you said Jan Van, well, you're going to imagine me, right? So they wanted a brand that you would know exactly who the brand was, not the people involved in it. So, you know, when I hear Nomad Cosmetics, I immediately think travel and beauty and color and shades of color, and which I'm going to get to in a minute. Serenity and excitement, or like this one, like the cozy Christmas thing. She said that was a big focus for them, was wanting the brand to be its own entity for the community and not about them as people, which I thought was amazing. And she voluntarily said, you know, if she had her dithers, as it were, she didn't say dithers, that's my word, in 10 years, they would be at a place where her only job would be giving away money that the brand brought in. That's like her ultimate, you know, dream, is to just be able to give away money. And you know that because they do the starfish thing, and they give free palettes away for the guessing games with launches, and there's like, they're always doing something, and they always support a charity or an organization, of course, in the area where the palette is based on. And that's amazing. I mean, we're getting gorgeous makeup and gorgeous humans. It's just, it's mind-blowing to me. I'm going to boop into just a little bit of the Christmas Pyramid shade. Christmas Pyramid. This is one of the coolest shades I've ever used. It turns any of the shades into almost a pastel version of that shade. I've used it a couple of times now for that, and isn't that spectacular? That is a perfect shade for me, for just, you know, softening edges or just blending. I love it so much. She also mentioned that they are very much community focused. They make changes based on what people ask for or thoughts they share with the brand. And you can see that in the changes they've made in some palettes that are older, that they've relaunched. It's hard to know, I think, probably what everyone wants and will be happy with, but they seriously take the community into account. And Felicia really focuses on that, and not what she thinks necessarily, but from the perspective of somebody purchasing makeups, and what the community thinks really guides her in the decisions that they make for the brand, which is amazing. Like, how many brands are out there going, what do you want from us? What can we do for you in the makeups? A lot of people are saying, hey, we like this person, let's like their makeup, which is great. That's amazing. I'm not saying anything negative about that, but also you gotta appreciate a brand who cares more about their people. Okay, let me go check the mirror up close, fix, finagle, do some mascara, lower lash line, and all of that, and then I'll come back, show you the finished look, and then I have a few rapid fire questions I asked her, which I will tell you about, and then I'll show you all the other looks that I did. We'll do some live swatching. It'll be a good time. Obviously, my eyes are done and, you know, everything's settled. But I wanted to show you my highlight. So I'm going to go into Paper Star for my, well, right now my inner corner is the shade Christmas Pyramid. If you don't like a super in-your-face shiny inner corner, that really works for me. But I wanted to put on a little Paper Star because it's so pretty. I have used this as my highlight in almost every look, and if I wasn't using this, I was using Gingerbread, which is crazy, but it's so pretty. I also wanted to mention something else Felicia and I talked about. Isn't that like the prettiest inner corner? I'm gonna put it on my cheekers too in just a second. All right, on to my cheekers. She also said that they've really focused on keeping the brand accessible and continuing doing that because they want everyone to be able to experience it and have that option available to them if they want it. And I think that's pretty awesome. They are working on ways to make palettes the way the community wants them. And there's a lot that goes into that when you consider wanting to keep the price down so that it doesn't hurt to purchase an eyeshadow palette. And you know, a lot of people are wanting magnetic palettes, which is great, except it increases cost, and that's a hard one to, you know, work around. They are trying, and I have faith they're going to figure it out. Also wanted to mention, I used this little e.l.f. brush. It's the Putty blush brush. Yes, I used this in the shade St. Nicholas as my blush. I mean, I just love it so much. Okay, everything's done. So I'll zoom you in now for an up close reconnoiter of the eyes and my cheekers, because those two shades are gorgeous. I will tell you, maybe I'll include the other looks that I did while I do the rapid fire questions with you and save a little bit of time. Okay, so the first two looks I did one on each eye, which I really don't like doing, but time is limited and I only have so many eyes. I like to wear my makeup, so there's that. Okay, the looks that I did and the rapid fire questions. So I asked her her favorite food, either a meal or a snack, and she said Italian, hands down Italian. Her favorite holiday is Christmas, which, if you know me, got me right in my feels. Favorite beverage, she said in this order, water, tea, and wine. Her dad is Irish and big into tea, and she just kind of fell into that as well. Her favorite color is multicolor, shades of color. How brilliant is that? And that she got from From Nomad, which is brilliant. Kids have the best minds. Okay, her favorite number is the number 7. Favorite makeup to play with is eyeshadow, because there's just so many things you can do with it, the colors and the shimmers and all the fun bits. Favorite song, she gave me 2, Dust in the Wind by Kansas and Shimmer by Fuel. That one I don't know. It's a 90s song, and in the 90s I had babies. I didn't listen to any new music. Favorite TV show, they don't watch TV, so I said, like, at any point, like, what was your favorite? She said The West Wing, and I nearly had heart failure because The West Wing is my favorite show ever. It's my comfort show. I watch it all the time, as often as I can, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes at a whack. I love The West Wing. Favorite Christmas movie, she said It's a Wonderful Life and Rudolph. Even though Rudolph was kind of Santa was kind of a bad guy, and Rudolph, still a good one. And It's a Wonderful Life, I think, is one that we tend to like as we age. And she said the same thing, like, I didn't always love it, and neither did she. But now that we're older, you're like, oh yeah, that's what that's about. And then I said, favorite creator you've ever played 20 questions with? And she said it was obviously me. Favorite creator she's had breakfast in Salem with was obviously me. She's just awesome. She's so awesome. And she's so kind and good and smart and friendly. And it is very much like chatting with a bestie. You know, she's awesome. And she doesn't ever make me feel inferior, which I for sure am, obviously. But she doesn't make me feel that way, which is so nice. Also wanted to mention, she sent me the little hat and a cup from the Pacific Northwest launch, so I'm very excited for that. So this palette, I should look at the numbers. Wowie wow, wowzers. This palette is going to cost $49, which is pretty standard for this size from the brand. It launches on Monday at 5 p.m. EST. There's also going to be a free gift with purchase for the first however many orders they get. I don't know what the gift is yet, but it is limited to however many they were able to procure. So yeah, that's exciting. Anything with Christmas, I'm there. And per usual, this is not a limited edition. It's going to be available for 12 months. My thoughts on the palette are as follows. It's amazing. It's a banger. It's so Riz. It's whatever the kids are saying that's good. It is that. I have used every shade. The first two looks, I used 10 shades. You know, one on each eye. I typically go for 5, so that was easy. Paper Star and Gingerbread are amazing highlights, if you ask me. The Gingerbread is a bit more, it looks glittery and green, which I'm not mad at. And this one is, of course, more pinky. So pretty. I love all of these shimmer shades. There's a bunch of multi-chromes, or a multi-chrome and a bunch of duochromes. They're beautiful. So you have to let me know if you have a favorite look from the total 6 that I did. I genuinely love them all. I try to do something more wearable and neutral for those who like wearable neutral looks, and then a little bit more colorful, kind of monochromatic. I don't know. I just try to do a little bit of something for everyone. So, what else? The mattes are spectacular. Oh my gosh. It's Nomad. They're going to be spectacular, and they are softly pressed in the pan. I didn't get any other fallout, just a little bit because I was being crazy, from Marketplace. When I was doing my makeup for the B-roll, I got no fallout when I was wearing makeup, a tiny bit on one of them when I was just like going in hard, because it didn't matter. The shimmers are beautiful, dry or wet. I'm priming my eyes the way I always do, a little bit of the LA Girl. No. Yeah. The LA Girl Pro Primer. I don't know if this has a shade name. Nude. And that's exactly what it is. This is what I put below my brows. And then I use my From Cosmetics Prelusion. That primer loves the mattes from Nomad. Not all primers do. So, and my mattes tend to crease on the outer corner if I don't use the Davina or Milani. It's very similar. It does the same thing. So, yeah. It's another winner for me. I think it can be colorful and funky or neutral and wearable. I like that the shimmers are in the shape of a tree. That's so cool. There's so many little details that Nomad focuses on. And that's for us. So that when we think of Nomad, we think of those things, like all the details and all the information. It's kind of like, oh, I would know a Christmas market if I saw it because of this. You know what I mean? Or, you know, obviously you would know it was Christmassy based on the Christmas theme, but I don't know. There's just something about Nomad that does it for me. And I love her. She's amazing. I do have a code, which I always forget. It's Jan. It saves you 10%. But be aware that they are going to be doing Black Friday type sales pretty soon. It's usually before Black Friday, if memory serves. You aren't going to be guaranteed to get the gift with purchase if you wait, but I think it's worth noting that you don't have to run out and do it now. Okay, let me get myself situated and we'll do live swatches of the shimmers on my arm. Okay, I think I'm ready for the swatching now. Oh, I'm a mess. All right, let me get these on my fingers. First up, we have Paper Snow. Oh, and I just got some on my bracelet. And then we have Gingerbread. Right. And First Snow, which I'm going to get more of because I just booped it off onto my bracelet. I'm trying to do these better so you can see them better. Look at that. Aren't they gorgeous? Oh. If I were doing something a bit more out there, I think that Paper Snow would look gorgeous as a highlight. Or if you are darker complected. Whew. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, now we'll go for the next three. We have Carousel. Almonds and chestnuts. And then Candle Arches. Look at that. I mean, so pretty. I think I could use almonds and chestnuts as a highlight as well, or as like a blush topper. That could be really pretty because it's very neutral toned with like no real base and kind of it looked yellowy, I think, on me, and I liked it a lot. All right, the last three. We have glass ornaments. The shade I'm wearing on my eyelids, which I believe is Mulled Wine. And then let me get this in there. Incense Smoker. They're beautiful. Absolutely lovely, wonderful, wearable, colorful highlights. Or shimmers. I got my brain on highlighter mode. They're so nice. And I think a great choice for the mattes in this palette. If you know me, you know I think Nomad knows what they're doing. It's kind of argue with them because I've loved every palette. Something I would like to note is that they are always changing, evolving, trying to do better, which we talked about, Felicia and I. But also, I've heard people say, you know, Nomad shimmers are getting better, or their makeups are getting better. And I always say they're definitely different. And I don't know if it's because I can see an eyeshadow for what it is and appreciate it for what it is, not what I want it to be. You know, so if they launched a satin that wasn't super sparkly, but you thought it was going to be, it could be disappointing, but it could still be an epic satin eyeshadow. Does that make sense? I don't know. We touched on this a little bit already, but I see people saying things about Nomad that I'm just like, do you even know what you're talking about? You know, there are websites where you can say anything you want and people will hop on that bandwagon so fast. And the only times I've seen anything, it has been just like crazy ignorance, just like a not knowing and not bothering to find out. So anyway, I don't know if any of the questions I asked Felicia are things you knew or didn't know, but let me know because I'm interested. I always thought that their eyeshadows were very specific to the brand. I never really thought they were white label or similar to other eyeshadows. And I was really glad to hear that I wasn't wrong because there are definitely, I have several eyeshadows that I think are spectacular, but I have them from a couple of brands and they seem the same. I'm gonna do a little research and see what I can figure out. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I think if you've got a good eyeshadow formula, it's a good eyeshadow formula. But I think it's important to know, you know what I mean? Like, Nomad's not using AI. They're not using white label. They have invested their own selves into the brand, which makes it more important to them that it be what the community wants because it's from their hearts, not just from wanting to make their wallets nice and fluffy. Does that make sense? Am I being too serious? I don't know. But I am excited to hear what you think of the palette, my looks, all the things. And I'm going to do a giveaway like I normally do. I'm not sure how I'm going to handle this one because I get a lot of subscribers and views on these videos, which is amazing, but then I don't have any, like they don't come back. And that's just not, it's not good for my channel and it's not fair to the people who are here all the time. So I'll choose a winner on Monday like I always do, and I'll figure out between now and then how I'm going to choose. But if you want to enter, leave an emoji, any emoji, because I can't do a ton of rules or, you know, make you jump through hoops to win a palette. But I want to give one away because that's what I do. I get one gifted to me from the brand. I should have said that at the very beginning. This is PR. They sent it to me. I'm so bad at this. Oops. I'll put hashtag PR in the title so you know. But obviously, if I have it and you're seeing it on Saturday, it was PR. I'll pick a winner on Monday before this launches. That way you'll know. If you won, you don't have to purchase it. But that's what I was saying is that they sent it to me and I would buy it anyway. And I think that I tend to be perceived as more credible if I'm spending my own money. I didn't buy the hat and the cup because Felicia specifically asked me not to. I have purchased everything the brand has launched since I discovered them. Like literally everything. Some things a couple of times. The candles, the skincare, the travel palettes, like I have purchased everything. If it was a palette that I got in PR, I purchased that and gave it away to somebody. And she, when they launched the passport holders, she was like, don't buy it, I'll send you some. And I was like, no, I already did. I bought 3 because we need them. And she was like, one of these days I'm going to figure out how to gift you something. So she made me say I wouldn't order them. So I didn't order them. They were gifted. I'm going to order them in my next order. trust and believe that. The hat is adorable. The cup is like tin, so it's or aluminum, so it's very lightweight, which is nice for those of us who aren't super strong. Mike's gonna steal it. Have you seen the cup? And this is the beanie. It's so cute. I would put it on, but I am very, very hot. And it won't be fun. And then the cup is so cute. And on the bottom, there's a Sasquatch. Wandering, never lost, which is Nomad's like tagline. Because they are wanderers. They like to see the world, and I think that's pretty cool. One of my favorite terms for not being lost came from the Wild Thornberrys Rugrats movie. And Nigel Thornberry said, "We're not lost, we're temporarily misplaced on the scenic route." And that's what I think of with Nomad. Like, not lost, wandering, enjoying it, making the best of it. So anyway, I'm going to go hopefully edit all of this together in some way that makes sense and continue on with my day. If there's any kind of looks you want to see me do, let me know. If you have any questions, leave those in the comment section because I will totally answer them or find the answer. I can do that. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Either way, I appreciate you hanging out with me today. Be good and remember to be kind to you.